So this is on Yupo paper. It's done with one of these tools. I believe it is done with 1 inch. Yes, this one is done with the 1 inch Mottler. And that's these swirly lines there and these lines and that sort of thing like that. What I'll be doing today is I'll be doing probably a number of pieces. And these are the Mottlers as I go, and I'll be talking about what I like about them. I just usually start with a shake of one kind of paint. Green and red, I don't know. I like this yellow, but not as much as this other yellow that I'm going to put on next. So I'm going to take one of my little toothy ones. So this is the silicone. It's a soft, medium hard silicone, and this is the 1 inch. I've cut some very irregularly sized chips out of the end of it, and that's just because I wanted to make some parallel lines. So this is just one of those things where I'm just going to start. If I'm worried about mixing paints while I'm doing it, I just wipe them on a damp cloth as I go. I really like this dark color, so I'm going to go like that. Let's add some more orange. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now we got a lot of parallel lines, and I'm thinking, too many. So normally I don't allow myself to think. So I'm just going to maybe just start playing here a little bit without thinking too much. Okay, that's not really that great, but I'm just showing you some of the marks I can make here. So this funny purple thing out in the end is just bugging me, so we're going to just push it in here. Push, 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 push. Push, 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 push. Play with some of the marks. Sort of rectangular marks. I can make circular marks. And one of my favorite ones is this sort of flag-like thing that I go out where I... So, is this a wonderful masterpiece? Well, obviously not, but I could add more color to it. And the real trick for when I'm demonstrating is to know when to stop. Okay, so this is number 2. Is this transparent? I think this might be, oh yeah. Oh, Payne's Gray is one of my favorite colors. Oop, I think that, oh, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue. Let's just take a deep breath. What's this gonna be? So far I haven't used very many pieces here, and I really like the big globs that stick behind. See, that's the thing, is when I start fixing, that's when it all goes to. I think I'll just leave that one. So I'm going to try another one, and maybe in a little different, maybe better in the center, maybe not. Okay, that's just a blue-green. More Payne's Gray. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add my favorite color. It's called an androthrone blue. I don't know what, these are not golden paints, because golden paints are very expensive, but I love them. If I could use them, I would. I certainly would. So I'm using one of our shapers here to put this on this time, because it won't drip out of this lovely little container, which tells you a little bit about my paint. Now notice here when you can lay the paint down, and then you can scrape the paint off the way you want to. And that's one of the reasons I really like it. They are very quick to clean. As an acrylic painter, brushes are one of the problems if you use them for a few seconds, you have to clean them, wet them, or look after them almost immediately. Maybe we'll put some yellow in. Okay, let's see. So what can I do with this? It's like I have this puzzle now. I've got to figure out what I can do with it. I want to do it in such a way that, oops, there goes the green. So I'm using the 3-inch now, and one of the things you'll notice is that the quality of the 3-inch blade is the same quality as all of the other blades. They're nice wide blades at the base. We have a very sharp, incisive edge along that side. So let's pull that out here. Well, I have this thing about this red. Let's see if we can do something like this. Ooh, red, 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 red. Red, red. Oh, that red isn't going all the way through. Oh, look at that. So it looks like I've got this sort of like really weird thing going on here. Not very interesting. And so sometimes when I make a mess, I just muck it all up. And if I've added blue and yellow to it, I definitely almost always get green. Okay, so what am I going to do with this? I'm just going to show some of the... So when you look at this, you can see maybe some of what led to this, because this is sort of what I'm playing with here. So this is what I did last night by surprise, very dark background, but not really black. And here I have this lovely green pile of green paint. And if you've watched my shows before, I could, okay, the other thing these are great for, you have to clean your palette. They're perfect for that. Or if you have to clean paint off a surface, a painting you don't like, you just go like this. Oh, one. And of course you scrape it, you wipe it off each time. I just use these damp rags because they're better than using big piles of water in my studio. And I just rinse the rags off after and throw them through a quick wash. And they don't come clean, but they don't have paint on them anymore. So that just shows you how, and I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to spread it across very thinly to show something else. These are wonderful for mixing colors because you can mix them, especially some of these small ones. Here, if you're just mixing little bits of color, you can just mix and wipe the things off so you're not cross-contaminating your brushes or anything with the colors. So now I'm going to just do something that I haven't done for quite a while, so which is I go parallel line, parallel line, parallel line. Oops, okay. And then I just wipe that off. And I use exactly the same brush. I don't put any more paint on. You can have different colors at the back. Under, over, under. And I go under, over. I forget. Over, under. So repeating lines by scraping through can make very distinctive, very interesting pictures. And then of course you can always go through and do something like that to it. And if you really want to play with it, this is one I've made. I cut that out with a knife left over from my biology kit. I actually measured them. The silicone it's starting to get old, let's say, and a little crumbly. It's still pretty good, and the handle is wooden, and the handle doesn't have a hole. So for me, when I look at these ones, the handle's a dark compressed plastic. It's not going to flake and lose paint. And the silicone is very, very flexible. It lasts for years. So I'm just going to play with this a bit. So just even a very uninteresting thing that you're doing can become something that people might look at and say, oh, I wonder what they laid down first. I wonder what they laid down later. So that one this is not a great painting, but I'm just going to take it off and set it aside. Yupo paper. So I'm going to do something like this. I know it doesn't look very interesting, but it's fun. We can use an androthrone blue, I guess. You want to use a fairly dark. I better put that lid on that blue, or I'm just going to use it for everything. Okay. So I'm going to oh, that's nice. I had a bit of that blue and green on this one. Oops. Those are beautiful colors. Why do I paint? She says that she's having fun. Okay. I'm going to just leave a little border on this one. So I'm just preparing a little surface here with sort of my favorite blue and my not so favorite blue-green. Part of the reason I say that about the blue-green is that unlike the blue, it is not transparent. I really like transparent colors, and I like the modern transparent colors. So I'm just going to leave that because this is all going to be covered up in a second. This is our set of shapers, and our shapers there's 5 in a set, and they have 5 different tips on them. They're a lot of fun to play with, but they do a lot of work too. Anyway, if you go to our website, we have really good information on our store about what you would use these particular tools for. We have 10 millimeter, that means it's 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter across the main tool. Then all of these are sort of 10 millimeter tools. These ones are 4 millimeters. These little tiny ones are 3 millimeters. And these ones are 7 millimeters. So we do sell a lot of the 7 millimeters and quite a lot of the 1 millimeters. And I'm going to take those 2 out. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to have a start point here. So this looks a little bit like, it's probably better to have an end point. I'm just having fun with it. I can go over the edge and around and over and around and under and around and over and around and under and around and around and around and around and around and around and end up there. Okay, so what this one is about, this is a little game where somebody can start looking at this and follow it and see if they can follow, how far they can follow follow it around. And also the other thing you can do with these is you can just play with them and then you can write a note, a message in them. I call them sort of like a secret message painting. So that's one demonstration of a Yupo, and it's done with the 1 centimeter shaper. Yeah, 1 inch. Or 1 centimeter flat chisel. So this would be the 7 centimeter flat chisel. Could do the same thing, maybe on a smaller piece. I'm not sure if I have any smaller pieces here today. So here's one that was done very similarly, but not with quite as many wiggly lines. I think you can see it say, I cannot love you. And you could put something else down there. So I'm back. What I've got here is something I took online. It was in Camtasia. I looked at that and I thought, well, we can do that here. We just have to learn how to do it. So we went through a series of practice sessions. That was our first one. This was our first attempt using these two things held together like this. So you can see there was a rather big big groove on one side and a little skinny groove on the other, but the gold looks good. So that was our first attempt, and we kept working on that. We eventually started using I eventually made this one. We got one very similar to the one that they had shown. So, and this was like the first attempt, the second attempt, and after we got going, this is probably about the 6th or 7th attempt. We've done it in different colors, and we've done it on blocks of this sort of thing. They make nice wall decorations. And so today we're just going to do one, and I prepared a piece of black Yupo paper for that. So now all I need to do is put the gold on. I have a choice today. I made one with red, so I could put a red one on, or I can put the gold on. I haven't used the gold for a while, so I'm going to try it again. This is made from the base paint and a lot of clear gel. Now the gel is not clear, but it dries clear. So even though this will dry like a really high glossy gold, I'll show you that. So this sort of dull yellow looking thing here, and it even in its unmixed, like this is pure, this one's pure gold. We're going to drop a bunch of that right on this. Okay. And let's see, that's what we do. So we use a fair amount because we want it to stick up from the surface. Because of my process, I like to go over the edges. So I generally just spread it a bit. Sometimes I spread it with the big one right to begin with. I love working with goopy, lots of thick color like this. It's nice. But you can see if I scrape, it goes right back down to the black at the bottom. And that's what I want at this point. So we're going to see. And I will have to just lift it up from the surface at the end to look at it, because it will look differently lifted from the surface than it does laying on the surface. So here we go. Now I'm going to leave it to my, I could just do swirly things, or I could do swirly things and flat things. One of the things I like to have is sort of very rounded edges and go right off the side like that. But after you've done about 20 of them, you think, oh, that's boring. So I've sort of, you can do other things, but is it as good? And that's sort of the place where I'm at now. Some of these things, I do like to have round, curly, so I don't like that. That's quite a sharp angle there, so I would go over it. And then I've done some like this, which I really like. Or you can twist the thing as you're going. So you can see there's a lot of room for play here. So it's just going to be a matter of me getting as much paint back on there as I can. And stopping basically when I think it's okay. And it's great having the background here. I never actually just did what I'm just doing now, which is clean off the background when I'm trying to get some of the paint back on there, well, after the first initial scrape. So just to give you some idea of what, that's one of them. Not terribly different than this one. And we can then also do things where we go like partway through. Let's get going. See if we can get to something that is acceptable. Now, what I'm looking at right now, because I'm getting pretty close to the end, is I'm looking at big, broad things of paint. Now, that will dry just almost exactly like it is, so it's okay. What I want to have is a sense of what it looks like sitting up like this all by itself. And I actually really like it just like this. I like that broad piece of gold coming up there. I just came across this, and I was talking about it a minute ago. Okay, so these are the ends on these sets of shapers. And like I said, we were using the 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter shaper here. And maybe put a black background isn't a very good one. So this is a 1 centimeter shaper. That's the chisel point. That's the flat chisel. That's this one. The angle chisel. This is the angle chisel. Oh yeah. And so you can see it's got a nice sharp pointy end and quite a wide blade, a sharp blade. This is the, and if you go to our website, it would say the angle chisel to create precise marks, create expressive strokes, apply masking fluid, shape and smooth small areas of clay. And these guys are good for blending and smudging pastel and creating even strokes and stuff like that. So, the cup chisel, that's this one. It's got a flat end, and then it's also got a cup shape, very good for moving large pieces of, large heavy parts of paint. These can also be used for carving, not carving, but for modeling clay and smoothing out clay as you're working for it. I think these are really, really useful. And I use them in all the different sizes. Okay, so that's our show for the day. We also didn't show you the rest of our tour, video tour, and we will do that another day.